Welcome back to the Lore Loom, where we turn powerful books into simple stories you'll actually remember. If you're new here, hit subscribe. We share a new story every day. Today's story is about a brilliant young woman who had amazing ideas to bring her town's history to life. She thought her logic and passion would win everyone over. But the more she argued for her vision, the further it slipped away, until she realized she was doing the one thing that guaranteed she would lose. In the sleepy town of Oakhaven, the old town hall stood empty and quiet, gathering dust. It was a beautiful building, but forgotten. Elara, a young woman with bright, curious eyes and a practical ponytail, saw not dust, but dreams. She imagined it as a vibrant new town museum. She wanted interactive displays, a digital archive where kids could explore, and murals telling Oakhaven's forgotten tales. Elara worked tirelessly on her proposal, filled with diagrams and research. She presented it to the Oakhaven Historical Society. Mr. Abernathy, the society's long-serving president, an older man with thin gray hair, wearing a tweed jacket and reading glasses, listened patiently. He was a good man who loved history, but he believed museums should be quiet, serious places, just like they had always been. After Elara finished, Mr. Abernathy cleared his throat. He said her ideas were a little too modern for Oakhaven. He wanted more glass cases, more hushed reading rooms, and fewer digital distractions. The town council, always respectful of Mr. Abernathy's experience, decided to give him final say on the museum's design. Elara would be his assistant. Elara's heart sank. She knew her ideas were better. They would bring in new visitors, especially younger ones. She tried to explain this to Mr. Abernathy over the next few weeks. She used facts, figures, and examples from other successful museums. But the more she argued, the more Mr. Abernathy seemed to stiffen. He would nod slowly, then gently change the subject or assign her another task cleaning dusty shelves. One afternoon, Elara was setting up a small display of old Oakhaven pottery. She suggested a touchscreen where visitors could learn about the potters. A touchscreen. Mr. Abernathy chuckled. My dear, people come to a museum to see history, not to tap on a screen. He then asked her to just write small, plain labels for each pot. Elara felt like screaming in frustration. The day came for the first public preview of the museum's progress. Elara had worked hard on her small, traditional displays. But everyone just walked past them quickly, glancing at the labels, before moving on. The room felt heavy and dull. Mr. Abernathy beamed, proud of his timeless approach. Elara felt a deep ache in her chest. She was right, but it didn't matter. That night, Elara sat in her quiet apartment, wondering if she should just quit. Her ideas were good, but no one would listen. She remembered an old carpenter who used to work on her grandfather's farm. He never argued about the best way to fix a fence. He would just fix it perfectly, and then show her how strong it was. The fence itself was the argument. Elara realized she had been making a huge mistake. Arguing was like pushing against a brick wall. I need to stop talking, she whispered, and start showing. The next morning, Elara arrived at the museum with a new plan. Mr. Abernathy asked her to organize the broom closet, a task usually given to new interns. Instead of complaining, Elara saw her chance. This small, ignored space would be her first demonstration. She cleaned the closet until it sparkled. Then, on a small, unused shelf, she placed an old, tarnished silver spoon she'd found. Next to it, she put a magnifying glass and a simple, hand-drawn sign. Who ate with this spoon? Oakhaven's first mayor, 1852. She didn't argue for an interactive screen. She made a mini-interactive display with everyday items. A few days later, some local school children visited the museum. Mr. Abernathy was showing them dusty artifacts. As they walked by the broom closet, one child peeked inside. Then another. Soon, a small crowd gathered, whispering excitedly about the mayor's spoon. Elara watched quietly from a distance. She didn't say a word. The children's excitement spoke for itself. Mr. Abernathy noticed the commotion. He walked over, a little confused, and saw the children pointing and talking about the spoon. He didn't say anything to Elara, but the next week, he assigned her to organize a small, neglected gallery at the back of the museum. Elara got to work. She created a Sound of Oakhaven corner, where visitors could press a button to hear old town bells or the chugging of a steam train. She set up a build-your-own Oakhaven house station with simple blocks and historical reference cards. She didn't ask permission for these modern ideas. She just did them, making sure they were neat, historically accurate, and easy to experience. The official grand opening of the Oakhaven Town Museum arrived. Mr. Abernathy led the main tour, showing off his traditional displays. People nodded politely, but their eyes quickly glazed over. The murmurs were quiet, and the main hall felt almost empty. But then, a hum of excitement started from the back of the museum. Laughter and chatter filled the air. Elara's small gallery was packed. Children were giggling, listening to the old train sounds, and proudly showing off their blockhouses. Parents were reading the historical cards, genuinely engaged, asking each other questions. Mr. Abernathy walked slowly towards the noise. He saw the vibrant energy, the genuine interest. He saw people truly connecting with Oakhaven's history, not because someone told them to, but because they were experiencing it. He didn't say anything to Elara that day, not a single word about her modern ideas. A week later, Mr. Abernathy called Elara into his office. He had a new set of blueprints on his desk. "Elara," he said, without looking up, "I need your help with the main exhibition space. We need to make it more engaging." Elara smiled. She hadn't argued, lectured, or pushed. She had simply shown what was possible, and her actions had won. The Oakhaven Town Museum became a thriving hub, famous for its interactive displays and vibrant stories, all thanks to a young woman who learned to let her work speak for itself. Here's the cool part. This whole story comes from a famous book called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's inspired by Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. This idea teaches us that trying to convince people with words, even when you're right, often creates resentment and makes them dig in their heels. Our character Elara is made up, but the lesson is very real. If you like this, the book goes even deeper. Link below. So what did this story teach us? Remember when Elara kept trying to explain her modern museum ideas to Mr. Abernathy? Every argument just made him more set in his old ways, proving that words alone often just create resistance. But when Elara quietly created that fascinating mayor's spoon display in the broom closet, the children's excitement was proof that no argument could beat. Her actions spoke volumes, showing the success of her ideas without ever needing to say, "I told you so." What would you have done if you were Elara? Many powerful books out there hold incredible wisdom, but let's be honest, they can be pretty long and sometimes hard to get through. That's why we create these simple stories at the Loom, to bring those big ideas to life in a way that truly sticks with you. So, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Let us know in the comments below which part of Elara's journey hit you the hardest, and we'll see you in the next story.